Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our last webinar for this week. We will be running some more webinars next week, but thank you ever so much for joining us. My name is Chris, and I'm one of the Shortcuts educators here. Okay. Now, today's session should last us roughly 30 minutes to 45 minutes, but it may take up to an hour, just depending on how many reports we go through, and of course, how many questions we get asked at the end as well there. Okay. So today's session will be recorded, and we aim to have a recording of the session to you within 24 to 48 hours. And you can also watch these back at any point as well. So what we're going to be looking at today is our shortcuts reports, okay? So how can accurate reports help us to understand our business better? Now, if you've already looked at some reports, you will notice there are lots and lots and lots of different reports to look at. So how do we know which are the best ones to look at? Okay, and when we're looking at these reports, what information is available to us? Well, we have so much information in this fantastic piece of software that we can see and that we can get our hands on. So there are lots and lots of reports for us to be looking at. This afternoon, we are just going to go through some of the main business ones, okay? So we're not going to go through all of them because that would take us quite some time, but we're going to go through some of our main business ones just to look at for today, okay? So in this session, we will be covering the most important shortcuts reports that we should be running and the information that they are telling us, okay? So shortcuts reports are designed to help you work smarter and of course, ultimately save you time and money in the long run, okay? So today I'm going to show you the reports to look at, the basic fundamentals of how our reports open and how we can configure them. And we'll also look at boosting appointment book scheduling efficiency, and we'll also look at tracking employee performance. And we're also going to look at how to set up commission structures as well. So you may be aware you can contact us at education@shortcuts.co.uk, and you can of course contact our help desk team on 0161 972 4900. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing we just need to do is just open up our Shortcuts Fusion system. Okay, now I'm going to be using a test system, so a lot of the information you will probably have a lot more to look at. Okay, but I'm just using a test system here just so we can have a look at it. So if you've never opened up Fusion Reports before, and this is the first time doing it, I will show you how to do so. So on the right-hand side of our navigation bar, we're just going to click onto the Tools button. And in the top corner, we're going to click where it says Reports. And on the left-hand side, you will see we have lots of different reports categories available to us. And we can expand these categories by simply clicking the yellow cross next to the word. And we can see that just there. Now, each of the reports we look at, you will see there is a brief description in the top right-hand corner. So let's get started. Let's have a look at some of our favorite business reports. So we're going to start at the top, and we will start by expanding appointments, and we will look at appointment roster analysis, which is this third one down here. Now, what this one will show you is a comparison of the roster times compared to the allocated times that your staff members work, okay? So essentially showing us how well our staff utilize their time in the salon. To open up the report, we simply click the View button at the center bottom of our screen. On the left-hand side, we can change the date range. So just here, you will see we have some default date ranges available to us. To the right-hand side, the reference will, of course, be today's date. And underneath, you will have a from and to date. This is where you can choose your own specific date. So let's just do January 2019 to February 2020, up until today, essentially. So you can see we can set our own default date range there. On the left-hand side, you will always see you have an employees button if applicable to this report. This will enable us to view a specific employee within this report. On the left, you will sometimes see this miscellaneous button. This will allow us to change some of the information within this report. So for this one in particular, you can see we can view graphs and definitions. Sometimes it will enable us to change date ranges, specific amounts, and of course, including tax and excluding tax. With any of the reports, you can always save them to come back at a later date. So you may wish to save a specific date range, and you can always view that specific date range report back. To open and view the report, you simply click the View button in the bottom right-hand corner. Okay, and this will show us our employee appointment and roster analysis. Again, essentially showing us how well our staff members utilize their time in a salon. So the first thing we're going to have a look at, let's have a look at Sarah. Okay, so you will see here on our little bar graph, you will see on the right hand side, we have a color key. Now, the blue section is the booked hours. So that is the booked hours she was with a client. So the time she was seeing to a client. The red square and red line is the rostered hours. Those are the hours she was set to work that week. Okay, so if we have a look here, we can see on Monday, she was set to work 9.5 hours. That was her working day, 9.5 hours. But she didn't do any clients. So she didn't do any clients at all. So we can see this blue section just here. On the 4th, which was yesterday, you will see there is a red section again at the top indicating she was set to work 9.5 hours. However, she was only booked out for just over 2 hours. So she was booked out for 2.5 hours with clients. And we can see that there in our very easy to read little bar chart, little pie chart. Not really a pie chart, actually, is it, to be fair? Sorry about that. Sort of a little line graph. I think that's the best way to describe it. Our line graph. Sorry, getting my graphs confused this Wednesday afternoon. Underneath, you will see we have it written out in facts and figures for you. So just if you want to make it a little bit easier to digest. So we can see on the 3rd, Monday the 3rd of February, the times booked out with clients was 0 hours. So she didn't do any clients that day. But the times rostered that day, she was set to work 9.5 hours, essentially making her, unfortunately, 0% efficient. Okay. However, yesterday on the Tuesday, you will see she was rostered to work again 9.5 hours, but she was only booked out for 2.5 hours with clients. So again, making her time utilization just 26%. So this is a great way to keep track of how our staff members are utilizing their time within the salon. Okay, and that is our appointment roster analysis report. So we can click the back button in the bottom left-hand corner and we can have a look at another report. So another report is a really good one, is our tag usage report. Okay, now our tag usage report shows us the kind of tags we're using in a salon. Now you may be aware that every time you make an appointment, you will be offered to give the client or in that appointment a tag, such as new client, request client, and so forth. So this is a good way to see the kind of clients we're getting through the door. And again, we can open up the information exactly the same as before. So again, let's just set my date range. And I'm going to click the view button. You'll see in the top left-hand corner, you will see I have my two tags, NR for new request and NC for new client. Now down the bottom of all of our reports, just to make everyone aware, you will see all of these buttons down here. The binoculars, where it's a search, will enable you to search something particular within this report. Maybe something that isn't quite jumping out at you, but you know you want to have a look at it. The zoom button will enable you to zoom directly into this report. The previous and next button will allow us to toggle between different pages if applicable. You can also do this at the top of the screen just here. You have the print button and the print setup button. If you are installing a new printer, you may wish to configure the settings here. Okay. If not, you may find by default it will wish to print out via your receipt printer, and this can sometimes make the report look quite small. With all of the reports, you can export them out. So you can export this to a PDF file and send it across to your accountant if applicable. Okay, so that is available with all of our reports. So this particular report, tag usage, let's have a look at the kind of tags we're using in our salon. So you can see here our NR, our new request clients. Okay, so you can see we've got here made up from 161 clients, and this is the pink section just here, and this makes up a total of 72.2% of all of our client tags. And then we have our NC, which is made up from 62 clients, which is just under 30%, so 27.8%. And if we scroll down, we can see, again, we can see it in facts and figures and numbers and words. We can see underneath, we've got our tag, new request client there, NR. We can see the number of visits or appointments and the associated revenue. And you can also see which stylist or which therapist did the service, and you can also see which client it was that had that particular service. Now, this is a fantastic report to be looking at to see the kind of clients we're getting through the door. So maybe if we're not getting as many new clients or request clients, it may be just something we need to look at in the future to ensure we continually get new clients or returning clients back through the salon door. Okay, and that is our tag usage report. Another fantastic report to look at is our value of a future appointments. Okay, now this is a great report to look at to maybe see if you've got a new staff member and you want to see how well they're performing and you want to see a bit of a forecast to see just how many clients they may or may not have got booked in the future. It's also a really handy report to look at to see maybe if you're going to smash your monthly target, okay? Or if you're going to reach your overheads, that kind of thing, okay? Or of course, you may be going away and you just want to see if you're going to break even, something along those lines, okay? So if we click onto value of future appointments, click the view button, and again, we can have a look, usually a date range into the future. So if we go from maybe Saturday until this Saturday, the 8th, again, in the top left-hand corner, you can see our two stylists and therapists. Down here in big orange letters, you can see the total amount of revenue set to be taken, okay? So for our date range from Saturday the 1st of February through to the 8th of February, we can see we're set to make a total of £223. So that is our forecast. Now, of course, if we have clients book in or clients cancel, and of course, if we offer any discounts or promotions, these figures will adjust accordingly. And underneath, you can see our two employees, Matt and Sarah, and you can see who has the biggest percentage of those appointments currently booked in. And you can also see who has the biggest value of appointments booked in. So we can see Matt is set to take 72%, and he has currently booked in £161 worth. And we can see Sarah has 28% of the appointments and is £62. Okay, and of course, those two figures there add up to 100, and these two figures here add up to 223. Now, moving on to the right-hand side, if you'd rather look at it in a bar chart, you can see that just here. You can also, and last but not least, you can also see the value of booked appointments per month. So you can see roughly how much money you're set to make this month for February. And that is our value of future appointments. So I'm just going to minimize appointments and I'm just going to expand business. Now, as you'll see, there are lots and lots and lots of reports to get your teeth into here, but a really good one to look at is profit and loss. Now, what this takes into consideration is money into the business compared to money out of the business, typically known as petty cash. So we can see today my income from services was just shy of £120, and my expenses, which I ran through the system, we always make sure we run petty cash through our system, was just £3.54. So you can see essentially my profit is just over £115. Now, please bear in mind, this doesn't take into consideration your overheads, rent, gas, electric, and anything like that. It's just a good way to see the money in versus the money out of your till. Okay. And that is our profit and loss report. So if I just minimize the business reports, and if I just expand my clients reports. Now, another really good report to look at, especially with maybe Valentine's Day coming up or soon be round the corner, we'll soon have Christmas knocking on our doors, we can have a look at our top spending clients. So we can see how much money is being spent by our clients. So we can see we don't have a total of a top 20 for the time being. Like I said, this is just because I'm using a test system here. But usually, if you look at this, you can see who is spending the most amount of money in your salon. You may wish then to use our shortcuts marketing feature to send them out a campaign, maybe just rewarding them for their loyalty and spending X amount of money in your salon with them. Okay. And that is our top spending reports. Client card accuracy is very, very handy. So I've just been talking about shortcuts marketing. So it's a very good idea moving forward. We ensure our client cards, our client's personal information is totally up to date, and we have taken as much information that we can with the client's consent, okay? The reason we do this, as I just said, we've just been speaking about shortcuts marketing. And if you were on my webinar earlier where I spoke about shortcuts marketing, you'll be able to see it's very handy to have client email addresses and client mobile numbers up to date to ensure we can send them out the relevant marketing material. So if we have a look at our client card accuracy report, we can see here how many of our cards have been completed. So we've got 50% of all of our client cards completed. And we've got 50% of them that have filled out their home address, postcode, nobody has filled out their home phone. You will see 50% of our clients have given the correct mobile phone address. Phone number, sorry. And we can also see here the correct email address has been taken. So it's very handy and very, very vital that we take all of this information. Again, it's just so we can ensure we can contact our clients if need be, but also for the relevant marketing platforms. Now, underneath, you'll be able to see a list of all of the different types of fields. Okay. So that's your card complete, your home address, what we were just looking at on the little bar chart just there. Now on the right hand side, if you were to click onto details, it will show you the name of that client that's filled out all of their details. So we can see my client here called Test, of all things, has filled out their client card completely. So that's just the one client that has filled out their card completely. And that is our client card accuracy. So another really good report to look at is if we just expand employees, we can have a look at our performance summary report, okay? Now we are going to move on to this commission and wages report in just a little bit when we set up our commission structure, okay? But a good report to look at is our performance summary. This, as the name suggests, shows a summary of how well our staff members are performing. So we can see here it brings through all of your reports categories. Now, hopefully when you've set up all of your services successfully, you link them all to the correct report category. This will enable you to accurately see the kind of services your staff members are performing. So we can see here Matt has had one client, and that was from the ladies reports category just here. So maybe it was a ladies service, a ladies styling service, that kind of thing. Okay. We can see he's had two from the color report category and nothing from anything else. So we can see from services, he has earned £119.17. And the total is, of course, £119. And the average client spend, again, is £119. That is because he has just done the one service. So it's a very, very good way to see exactly how well our staff members are performing. So this is a fantastic report to look at moving forward, just to see the kind of services your staff members are offering. So if they're doing maybe more ladies in comparison to colouring service, or more gent services in comparison to ladies cuts and colours, that kind of thing. So maybe a good way to sort of push certain services, that kind of thing. Okay, just a great way to monitor your staff's performance. Now, hours by roster type is a really good report to look at for our managers, directors, and our front of house staff members. This will show you the types of roster that they've had. Now, by type of roster, I mean whether they were sick, whether they were on holiday, whether they were at college, that kind of thing. So it is vital that when you fill out your staff members' rosters, you choose the correct reason of why they may or may not be in the salon. Okay. So if we click the view button, and again, if we have a look at a date range from the 1st of Feb to the 8th of Feb. So we can see again on the left-hand side, we have a list of all of our staff members. So for Sarah, we can see for this current week, she has got 47.5 hours of normal work. So that means she's essentially set to just work like normal. And you can see she's got 9.5 hours for a day off. Okay. For here, we can see James has done 28.5 hours of normal work. However, just like Sarah, he has had 9.5 hours for a day off, but he has currently had 19 hours worth of sick days. Okay, so we can see that there. And exactly the same for Matt underneath, we can see he is exactly the same as Sarah. So the reason we do this is it's a good way to see if people are being a little bit cheeky, a little bit sneaky. So whether they're having too many sick days or too many, of course, holiday days. So you can run this report for the entire year and keep track of the types of reasons your staff members are or are not in the salon. And if we just expand end of day, now one of our most common reports that we look at is our trading summary. Now, most of you will have probably seen a trading summary. This always appears every time we do our end of day cash up wizard. Okay. And again, as you can see, they all open up in exactly the same fashion. So you'll see here my takings for today have been £143 so far. However, if you took money in cash as well as credit and debit card, this will show here. And then underneath you can see your total takings and your net receipts underneath. To the right hand side, we can see our sales and retail if applicable. So you can see how our sales are made up. So we can see from 3 services, we have earned £143 inclusive of tax and £119.17 exclusive of tax. So you can see here how much tax was payable on those figures. Moving down the left-hand side, you will see some more statistics. You will see your promotional discounts that have been given away and any total expenses. The expenses are what we refer to as petty cash just here. Now, you may remember that figure of £3.54, which pulled through to our profit and loss report we looked at 5 or 10 minutes ago. Underneath, you will see we have our ticket averages. Our ticket is what we refer to as a transaction. Okay, so every time there is a transaction through the till, that is referred to as a ticket. Okay, so we can see our service tickets and our product tickets. Our product ticket would be if somebody came through the door to simply purchase a retail product. Underneath, you will see our clients, the kind of clients we're getting through the door. So whether they're walk-in clients, new clients, or returning clients. And underneath, we can see their gender, male, female, whether they're a child or not, and of course, unspecified. To the right-hand side, you will see we have our liabilities. Now, our liabilities is essentially money that is owed back to the business, typically through the sale of gift card or gift certificates. Okay, so that is what our liabilities are. And underneath, last but not least, you will see our employees and how much money they have earned in product sales, how much money generated in service sales, and any sundry and gift card sales. Okay, sundry is what we refer to as like a one-off payment, that kind of thing. Okay, and then we can see the total. So that would add all 3 of these up. We can see the percentage total out of all of our staff members who earned the most money, and our average ticket. Again, a ticket is what we refer to as a transaction. We can see our employee times, how often they were set to work, and sales service per hour. So roughly how much money they were set to make per hour. This is worked out from taking all of the money they earned for services divided by the hours they worked, giving you an average of £12.54. And that is our trading summary. Now, this is probably, like I said at the beginning, one of the most important reports to look at. This is very handy to send across to your accountant and that kind of thing, just to see how much money we are taking every single day. Another good report to look at is our service breakdown via category, or you can also look at a very similar report, which is service breakdown with level. So what we can see here, our service category, so we've got our color, and underneath we've got the specific services which fall within that category. So we can see just for today, we have had 1 full head of highlights, and that earned us £62.50. Underneath, you can see we had 1 full head tint, which earned us £41.67. Okay, and we can see here where it says the percentage of pounds earned. This 52% is basically saying out of all of the services we did, £62.50 was the highest amount. So that was 52.45% of all of the money earned. Underneath, you will see we've got 34.97. So our second highest income for services was our full head tint of £41.67, and that equated to just under 35% of all of our takings. So if we add these two together, that gives us £87.41. Now, if we move to our lady styling category, you will see we've had 1 cut and finish, which generated us an income of £15. And you can see out of all the money earned, that was 12.59% of all of the money generated. And if we add 87.41 together to our 12.59, that gives us, of course, as our full round 100%. And underneath, you can see the total for all of our service categories just here. And that is our service breakdown by category. Again, a really good way to see whether we're doing more half head of highlights than full head of highlights, and just to see exactly which of our services and which of our service categories are most profitable for us and bringing us the most amount of income. Okay, and we can track that compared to other services and other service categories we offer. One of our last ones, we will have a look at our stock maintenance report, our stock control report, sorry. So if we have a look at our stock control report, this will show us how much money we have on the current value of our products on our shelves at our particular one time. So if we click onto stock control report, and if we click the view button, now, this is the only report really where you can't really set a date range. The reason that is for is, of course, if you can imagine, our stock levels fluctuate and change all of the time. So what we really want to have a look for our stock levels is the total accurate amount now. So we kind of want it to be live. So that is why it usually takes us directly to today's date. And if we click on the view button, we don't seem to have any products in for today, but this will show you the value of hand at any one time. It will show you the product name, the sell price, the gross profit in a percentage, the product code, the primary barcode, T in stock, warning, max if there's any on order, and the average cost, and of course the value to hand. So that will show you exactly how much money you have on your shelves at any one given time. Okay. Now, I will go into a lot more detail with this particular report when we do our stock webinar. We won't unfortunately be doing that today. I believe we will be running it next week. And one of the last reports we can have a look at is our transactions. Now, a really good report to look at is our daily transactions. So this will show you all the transactions you have done for today or a specific date. Again, you cannot view this one in a date range. You'd have to print them out individually. So we can see for today, we've had one client and they paid via credit and debit card. This is when they were checked out, and this is the terminal they use, terminal being the computer that they use to check out from. And you can see whether that money was broken down via cash, check, credit. FPOS is electronic funds transfer at the point of sale screen, and other. That can be any other form of payment you have. American Express, Treatwell, and so forth. And underneath, we can see our club points, our gift certificates, gift cards and loyalties, series redemption, and our membership redemptions if necessary. And that is it. So that is some of our most important reports to be running. Hopefully that has answered quite a few questions you may have had to do with reports. The last thing we're just going to have a look at is setting up your commission structure. Now, your commission structure is set up via the employee screen. So if you click onto setup in the bottom right hand corner, and if you were to click onto employees, from the drop down menu at the top here, you would choose the relevant staff member. And you'll see here, this is where we would link to the commission structure. But first of all, we need to create that commission structure. So it is hidden away here on this little schedule button just here. We would then click the spanner where it says commission. And you'll see at the top if we've got any existing commission structures. So let's just click the new button and let's create a new one together. So let's call this senior stylist. So you will see from 0 to, let's say, £1,000. I'm going to say that from 0 to £1,000, my senior stylist will earn 10% on services. Okay. And I'm also going to say they will earn nothing on retail and nothing on sundry. But let's say from 1,000 and a penny, we always put the penny in there because that will take us to our next tier. Okay. From £1,000 and a penny up to £2,500, they will earn 15% on services and 10% on retail. And let's say from 2,500 and again a penny to take us to our next tier, all the way up to 10,000, they will earn 20% on services and again 10% on retail. Now, if you want to sort of set it to infinity, so essentially they don't earn anything more from here, let's just say we did 10,000 and again a penny, all the way up to as much money as they can possibly earn in the salon. Just pop in 10 million, 100 million, whichever it may be. And then you can say from there, they will earn 25% on services and 15% on retail. And then that will be as much money as they can possibly earn. So anything they can absolutely earn, they will earn a maximum of 25%. So we click the done button, and that is how we simply set up a commission structure. Now, once we have created the commission structure, the last thing we need to do is simply add it to our employee. So again, we go back into our employee screen, choose the relevant employee, in this case, James, click the commission button, and you can click onto Senior Stylist. Just make sure we click the Save button. So a report you can now have a look at. If we go through the tools, back to our reports, expand our employees, and we can have a look at our commission and wages report. And we can see here. So for my employee business, it will show you their base salary if you have included that in the employee screen, the hours they have worked, the hourly rate, again, if you have included that in the employee screen, the total amount of wages, and then here you can see the commission they've earned. So it will work the commission out for you. Now, for those of you that have looked at this sort of thing before, or have maybe got an accountant that does it, it is very, very easy. And typically this is then included in the wage packet as well. And there we go. That is our essential business reports and setting up a commission structure. Thank you ever so much for joining me this afternoon. If you've listened to all of my webinars today, thank you ever so much. If you do have any questions, I welcome those now. Thank you. Lovely. Okay, so one last time, thank you ever so much, ladies and gents, for joining me this afternoon. It has been a pleasure speaking to you all. Hope to speak to you all again soon. Thank you ever so much. Bye-bye for now.